Once upon a time, in a quiet mountain valley somewhere in the hills of ancient Asia, there lived a young man named Daniel. Daniel was 26 years old, and Daniel had one very serious problem. He could never finish anything. Not because he was lazy, not because he didn't care. Actually, it was the complete opposite. Daniel cared too much. He cared so deeply about doing things right that he would start a task, find one small flaw, throw the whole thing away, and start completely over again. He did this with everything. His work, his relationships, his goals. His life. If his morning routine wasn't perfect, the whole day felt ruined. If he made one mistake at work, he couldn't sleep that night. If a conversation didn't go exactly how he had planned it in his head, he would replay it 100 times, criticizing every single word he had said. Daniel was exhausted, not from working too hard, but from trying to be perfect at everything, all the time, every single day. One evening, sitting alone in his small apartment, Daniel stared at a half-finished painting on his desk. He had been working on it for 3 months. It was almost done, but there was one brushstroke in the corner that didn't look right to him. So he had stopped. He hadn't touched it since. He looked at that unfinished painting and felt something heavy settle into his chest. He thought, "What is wrong with me? Why can't I just finish something?" That same night, his older sister called him. She could hear the exhaustion in his voice. She said, "Daniel, I know someone you should meet. There's a Buddhist monk who lives at a small retreat center about 2 hours outside the city. People say he has a way of helping people see what they can't see on their own. Just go. One visit. That's all." Daniel almost said no, but something inside him was tired enough to try. The next weekend, Daniel made the drive out. The retreat center was simple and still. No screens. No noise. Just trees, stone paths, and the sound of wind moving through the leaves. The monk's name was Brother Tenzin. He was older, maybe in his late 60s, with calm eyes and a slow, easy way of moving. Like a man who had nowhere to be and no reason to rush. Daniel sat down across from him and said honestly, "I don't know how to explain this exactly. I just feel like nothing I do is ever good enough. I keep starting over. I keep stopping. I'm so tired of trying to get everything right and still feeling like I'm failing." Brother Tenzin listened quietly. He didn't interrupt. He didn't offer a quick fix. He simply nodded slowly, stood up, and said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." He led Daniel to a small garden behind the retreat center. In the center of the garden was a beautiful, handmade ceramic tea bowl sitting on a wooden table. Daniel looked at it closely and immediately noticed something unusual. There was a crack running along one side of the bowl. It had been filled in with what looked like gold. Daniel said, "That bowl is cracked." Brother Tenzin smiled and said, "Yes, it is." Daniel waited for more. Brother Tenzin just stood there, looking at the bowl with what could only be described as genuine admiration. Finally, Daniel asked, "Why did you fix it with gold? Why not just replace it?" Brother Tenzin picked up the bowl gently and held it toward the light. The gold crack caught the sunlight and glowed. He said quietly, "In Japan, there is an art form called kintsugi. When something breaks, instead of hiding the damage or throwing it away. The artist repairs it with gold. The philosophy is simple. The break becomes part of the beauty. The crack is not a flaw to be ashamed of. It is the history of the bowl. It is proof that the bowl has lived. Daniel stared at the glowing gold line running through the ceramic. Brother Tenzin continued, "You came here because you believe that cracks make you less. But what if the cracks are exactly what make you more?" Daniel didn't respond right away. He just stood there holding that bowl, feeling something loosen in his chest that had been tightly wound for years. Brother Tenzin sat down on a nearby stone and said gently, "Perfectionism is not high standards, Daniel. It is fear wearing the mask of high standards. You are not trying to be excellent. You are trying to be safe. You believe that if you can make everything perfect, nothing bad can happen to you. Nothing can be criticized. Nothing can be rejected. But life does not work that way. And the energy you spend trying to control every crack is the same energy you could spend actually living." Daniel said softly, "So what do I do?" Brother Tenzin looked at him and said, "Finish the painting." Daniel blinked. "What?" "Whatever unfinished thing you left behind because it wasn't perfect. Go home and finish it. Not because it will be flawless. Finish it because done and imperfect is worth infinitely more than perfect and never completed." Daniel drove home that evening with the windows down. He walked straight to his desk. He picked up his paintbrush, and without overthinking, without second-guessing, he finished the painting in 20 minutes. It wasn't perfect. There were uneven lines, and that one brushstroke in the corner still bothered him a little. But it was done, and for the first time in months, Daniel felt genuinely free. He looked at the finished painting and thought, "This is real. This exists. I made this." No imaginary perfect version of this painting had ever existed anywhere except inside his own exhausted mind. From that day forward, Daniel made himself one simple promise. He would choose done over perfect. He would choose real over imaginary. He would choose a life full of golden cracks over a life spent hiding from them. Because here is the truth that Brother Tenzin understood, and that Daniel finally learned that evening. Perfection is a direction, not a destination. You can move toward better every single day, without demanding that today already be flawless. The most beautiful things in this world, the most meaningful relationships, the most honest art, the most lasting success, none of it was ever perfect. All of it was simply real. Your cracks are not your failures. They are your story. And your story, every broken and golden piece of it, is worth finishing. If this story moved something in you today, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this right now. Subscribe to the Bright Tales for more stories that make you think, feel, and see life a little differently. Thank you for being here with us. Until next time, stay real, stay brave, and stay bright.